Your tutor helps you make the most of your time at university by giving you guidance and support along the way. All new students are allocated a personal tutor who will encourage you to get the most out of your course, direct you to other sources of support, and help you achieve your goals.
To some extent, attendance at cultural venues and events is influenced by a person's age and the composition of the household in which they live. For example, those people in households with dependent children were more likely to visit zoological parks and aquariums than people living in single-person households.
Your body is nearly two-thirds water, and so it is really important that you consume enough fluid to stay hydrated and healthy. If you don't get enough fluid, you may feel tired, get headaches, and not perform at your best.
Rarely, however, does a single research study produce the certainty needed to assume that the same results will apply in all or most settings. Rather, research is usually an ongoing process based on many accumulated understandings and explanations that, when taken together, led to a generalization about educational issues and practice, and ultimately to the development of theory.
The tortoise size and shell shape varies depending on where they live. The shell is made of bone and is a dull brown color. Their ribs, backbone, and breastbone have become part of the shell, which is why you can never separate the tortoise from its shell.
In this course, we will explore how such things as department stores, nationally advertised brand name goods, mass-produced cars, and suburbs transformed the American economy, society, and politics. The course is organized both thematically and chronologically. Each period deals with a new development in the history of consumer culture.
Experts discuss the significance of attending the theater as a civic occasion, associated with the political and cultural achievements of Athens. Through archaeology and analyses of contemporary art forms such as decoration on pottery, a picture is built up of ancient Greek theater.
Members of a culture must conform to its norms for the culture to exist and function. Hence, members must want to conform and obey rules. They first must internalize the social norms and values that dictate what is normal for the culture. Then they must socialize or teach norms and values to their children.
Expression became important during the Romantic movement, with artwork expressing a definite feeling, as in the sublime or dramatic. Audience response was important, for the artwork was intended to evoke an emotional response. This definition holds true today as artists look to connect with and evoke responses from their viewers.
We seek to improve learners' experience of education at college and help them to aspire, achieve, and progress. We must embed equality and diversity in everything we do, both as a provider and an employer. We hope to prepare our students for work, higher education, and citizenship by equipping our staff with the skills to meet this agenda.
The natural environment can be hazardous, and, with increased travel and leisure, people today are more likely than ever to be exposed to potentially life-threatening conditions. Although the human body can adjust to some extent, it cannot cope with poisons or prolonged exposure to extremes of environment.
In the late 16th and 17th centuries, many English, French, and Dutch emigrants went to North America in search of gold and silver, but they did not find it.
We believe in the inherent value of research in the humanities and social sciences, and our research data agenda is given by the pursuit of new knowledge that will be of benefit of Australia and the world. We offer one of the most comprehensive programs in the humanities and social sciences in Australia and the Asian Pacific region. The whole purpose of making notes is to aid your learning. It is important to go back over them within a day of making them to make sure they make sense and make them legible for future revisions. Also, going back over them should highlight the key questions of areas in which you want to do further reading. The word radical from the Latin word for roots means anyone who advocates fundamental change in the political system. Literally, a radical is one who proposes to attack some political or social problems by going deep into the social or economic fabric to get at the root cause and alter this basic weakness.
This is a new, accessible, and engaging textbook written by academics who also work as consultants with organizations undergoing change. It offers a unique combination of rigorous theoretical exploration together with practical insights from working with those who are actually responsible for managing change.
A car's brakes are one of its most important safety features and generally come in one of two types, disc or drum. Disc brakes use a spinning disc, which is pinched between brake pads mounted on calipers to slow the motion of the car. Drum brakes, on the other hand, use shoes that push outward to contact the inside of a spinning cylinder. The projected decline of government spending in many low-income countries will restrict their ability to strengthen pandemic preparedness and limit their progress towards universal health coverage. This will lead to growing inequalities between countries, threatening global stability and prosperity. Thus, governments need to give greater priority to health in budgets and improve the efficiency of health spending. Globally, about 1/3 of a city's land area is covered by public spaces. Despite this significance, the potential of public space assets to transform cities and improve urban life is often overlooked. The resulting degradation of public spaces into congested, vehicle-dominated, and polluted places often become a liability, exacerbating various city problems.
The world is aging and becoming increasingly ill. For the first time, there are more older persons than children under 5, and more people are driven to cities for livelihoods, to have access to essential services, and simply to enjoy their golden years. How can we ensure cities welcome and nurture a diverse population in ways that are equitable for all?
More and more people are choosing to live in cities. They offer better opportunities, better services, and sanctuary from conflict and the effects of climate change influences. Yet large numbers of people are unable for various reasons to move to cities, skills mismatches, reluctance to sell land at a loss, and sometimes because of explicit policy restrictions that limit people's movement within countries.
No matter where we go on the planet, there are stunning plants, flowers, and animals that catch our attention. They are very important aspects of any ecosystem. Of all the living organisms on the planet, the most commonly seen bias are the plant life and the animal life.
Heart disease is the leading cause of death for both men and women in the United States. While often thought of as one illness, heart disease is actually an umbrella term that covers a range of heart conditions. It includes diseases of the blood vessels, including coronary artery disease and peripheral artery disease and so on.
As technology keeps growing, political and economic leaders have utilized cinema changing and shaping people's outlooks either for their own benefit or for the benefit of the people. Quality translations are also readily available and extremely affordable for everyone these days, which makes it easy for filmmakers to reach their target audiences from all corners of the world in their mother tongue.
Computer and smartphone-based treatments appear to be effective in reducing symptoms of depression, and while it remains unclear whether they are as effective as face-to-face psychotherapy, they offer a promising alternative to address the growing mental health needs spawned by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The tropics are becoming hotter due to a combination of warming associated with deforestation and climate change, and that can reduce the ability of outdoor workers to perform their jobs safely. Researchers are estimating how many safe working hours people living in the tropics have lost due to local temperature change associated with loss of trees. Movies are an integral part of us. They mirror what we believe and how we coexist as people. It is easier to see our concerns, attitudes, flaws and strengths in films than it is to decipher them from our daily interactions. When our prevalent beliefs and ideologies are challenged in films, we are sometimes able to interrogate ourselves and embrace change.
Before a heart disease diagnosis is made, your healthcare provider will gather a full medical history and perform a physical exam. If your doctor suspects heart disease, blood tests will be ordered to check your cholesterol and triglyceride levels, as well as look for proteins that could signal heart failure or plaque in your arteries.
Until now, Mars has been generally considered a geologically dead planet. An international team of researchers led by Zurich now reports that seismic signals indicate volcanism still plays an active role in shaping the Martian surface.
We seek to improve learners' experience of education at college and help them to aspire, achieve, and progress. We must embed equality and diversity in everything we do, both as a provider and an employer. We hope to prepare our students for work, higher education, and citizenship by equipping our staff with the skills to meet this agenda.
Expression became important during the Romantic movement, with artwork expressing a definite feeling, as in the sublime or dramatic. Audience response was important, for the artwork was intended to evoke
Electronic discourse is one form of interactive electronic communication. In this study, we reserve the term for the two-directional texts in which one person using a keyboard writes language that appears on the sender's monitor and is transmitted to the monitor of a recipient, who responds by keyboard.
in comparing material with non-material culture, the first being the objects and technologies we create, and the second our customs, beliefs and attitudes, the speaker gives greater emphasis to the material culture. He gives the example of the development of genetic science and the benefits it has brought to mankind, despite a fair amount of opposition.
Psychologist Faridkot A graduate student at Kyoto University in Japan strolls into one of Japan's many cat cafes. These establishments allow customers to pay an early fee for the chance to cuddle some cats. They're popular in Japan because so many apartment buildings forbid pet ownership. But Takagi isn't a typical customer. She's not there for feline affection, but to probe their minds.
The best comparison is likely a magnetar, a young neutron star with a powerful magnetic field, the researchers said. Magnetars also produce bright X-ray flares. While magnetars are thought to be young stars, the flaring objects in this study reside near elliptical galaxies, which contain older stars. So the objects are likely too old to be magnetars, the researchers said.
The quest for a user-friendly copyright regime began a decade ago when the Hong Kong government launched a public consultation on copyright protection in the digital environment in December 2006. Although this consultation initially sought to address internet-related challenges, such as those caused by peer-to-peer file-sharing technology, the reform effort quickly evolved into a more comprehensive digital upgrade of the Hong Kong copyright regime. Blue is the most popular color. Food researchers disagree. When humans searched for food, they learned to avoid toxic or spoiled objects, which were often blue, black, or purple. When food dyed blue is served to study subjects, they lose appetite. Some people object that in order for the eye to modify and still remain a useful instrument to its owner, many changes would have had to take place simultaneously. However, it is not necessary to suppose this if the modifications were extremely slight and gradual.
Weakness in electronics. Auto and gas station sales dragged down over retail sales last month, but excluding those three categories, retailers enjoyed healthy increases across the board, according to government figures released Wednesday. Moreover, December sales numbers were also revised higher. Where there are effects, there are often side effects. The car is a boon to mobility, but can lead to obesity, death, and pollution. Burning fossil fuel may keep economies going but wreck the climate in the long run. In a similar way, there are side effects to information technology education setting, from childcare to the classroom to the lecture hall and beyond. Weakness in electronics. Auto and gas station sales dragged down over retail sales last month, but excluding those three categories, retailers enjoyed healthy increases across the board, according to government figures released Wednesday. Moreover, December sales numbers were also revised higher.
The free market is extremely competitive and companies are constantly trying to gain an edge over their rivals. Merchandising and brand image play a major role in attracting customers, but they often lead to overpackaging. This is a serious problem since most packaging these days are made of plastics which are not biodegradable. Some people blame the manufacturers for their blatant disregard, while others point the finger at consumers.
The Founding Fathers established constitutional protections for the press because they understood that leaving the watchdog function to partisan politicians wouldn't necessarily serve the public interest. Both sides have too many incentives to preserve the status quo and ignore problems that elude quick fixes.
It isn't rare for private equity houses to hire grads fresh out of business school, he said, but 9 times out of 10, the students who nab these jobs are the ones who had private equity experience under their belt before even starting their MBA program. Surprisingly, despite what appear to be infinite variations, all difficult conversations share a common structure. When you're caught up in the details and anxiety of a particular difficult conversation, the structure is hard to see. But understanding that structure is essential to improve how you handle your most challenging conversations.
The term supernova was coined in the 1930s by a memorably odd astrophysicist named Fritz Zwicky. Born in Bulgaria and raised in Switzerland, Zwicky came to the California Institute of Technology in the 1920s and there once distinguished himself by his abrasive personality and erratic talents. He didn't seem to be outstandingly bright, and many of his colleagues considered him little more than an irritating buffoon. Britain, then, as slow to create and develop a police force than the rest of Europe. France had one long before indeed. The word police is taken from the French. This fact was not unimportant, as the very idea of a police force was seen as foreign, that is, French, and particularly undesirable, and was generally regarded as a form of oppression.
Studying abroad is a very popular option for students who come from a wealthy family. Most people believe that overseas experience provides a deeper understanding of cultures and develops communication skills. While this may be true, not all of these new experiences are useful for finding a job. Employers tend to value interpersonal skills and industry knowledge more than cultural background. Researchers gathered 160 uncaffeinated adults, people who consumed less than 500 milligrams of caffeine a week. These decaf subjects looked at pictures of various objects, then took either a placebo or a pill containing 200 milligrams of caffeine. That's roughly the amount you get from 2 cups of coffee.
This will just take a minute. We all know money can't buy happiness, but according to a recent study, there may be a loophole. A team of researchers finds that shelling out for services that save time can bring greater feelings of life satisfaction than, say, simply buying more stuff. The results appear in the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Ministers have rehearsed for the Queen's death for the first time this secret exercise to prepare for 10 days of national mourning. It has emerged. The run-through, apparently known as Castle Dove, so cabinet ministers and Whitehall officials discuss D1, the day after the monarch's death.
It has been 200 years since the birth of Karl Marx, but the German philosopher's relevance has never been greater. The publication of Marx and Friedrich Engels' The Communist Manifesto in 1848 was not greeted with great fanfare, a reception unbecoming what is now considered the most influential political pamphlet of all time.